Hello, and last night I finished I Dream of Mimi, an extremely. Well, if I could sum up this anime in one sentence, it would be a great, fun, catchy opening song to a hilariously perverted anime. It's a very short series, three OVAs, 30 minutes each. Within seconds of looking at what this anime is about, I started laughing. It's hilarious. And what are these reviews? I swear, I lost faith in all these review websites. IMDb, Mal. I don't believe those websites. They don't know what they're talking about. So this movie, I mean this series, it's about a guy that he is part of a computer club, but he doesn't have a computer. So he works all these jobs to get money, and when he finally manages to find a great deal, he was too late because it sold the computer sold fast. He was looking for a PC 98, which is at the time, that was a personal computer that people would use to play games from the mid 90s, around that era. But he finds this creepy this creepy guy in an alley who is selling one. And I mean, first of all, like, why would you even want to buy it from him? The guy is obviously sketchy, but he does anyways. And turns out the guy showed the wrong part of the box to make it look like it's what he was looking for, but it was actually something else that has a similar model number. He takes it home. He opens it, and it's a naked woman. And he's like, what is this? What have I bought? And then it activates, and it says that it's his own personal computer now, and he's kind of creeped out at first, but then the woman says, the woman says that she needs to have him install. She needs to install him. So something about installation to set up her, the new computer. And she proceeds to perform fellatio on him, and the guy's like, what is going on? But deep down, of course, he's having a good time, and she takes, she does her business, and she takes his what she calls active molecules, and builds a profile on him, configures herself, resets. She looks for a name. He decides on Mimi. I don't know why he was kind of like in the moment at the time, so she's called Mimi, and she becomes her, I guess, servant. She calls him master. It's this and that, and she tells him that her memory tends to run out, and the only way she can get her memory back is through his active molecules, if you know what I mean. So this guy is like, what? I have to have sex with you to keep your memory up? And she's like, yeah. So then, it's so then he has to explain to his friends what has happened, because they're like, we want to see the new computer. And technically, he kind of does have a new computer, but it's not what they would think it is. So he ends up coming all these excuses that I'm getting it fixed, and it wasn't that well. And Mimi gets involved with them, and he has to figure out a way to hide the fact that she's a computer system in a human form. But Mimi's too honest, so she kind of almost tells his friend she's a computer, and she stops her at cum and says, "Oh, she's from Colombia," and that's his cousin. And there's this girl at school that likes Tokyo, who is the main character, or one of the main characters, and she gets kind of jealous of Mimi, but she kind of buys the story anyways. And and so this girl buys Tokyo a computer called, I think, was it Shimia? Shimia, I forgot what they call it. But so Mimi gets jealous of Tokyo because she thinks that he prefers that dated old computer over her. So she gets jealous over a computer. She ends up modifying it, and she actually turns it into a ally for combat, which is revealed in the last episode, or the last OVA. And so Mimi drags this guy into the computer, into the computer program, and she can also detect when other systems like her are around that are kind of defective, and then they take them out. The fighting is very generic. It's like your typical like Dragon Ball Z Energy Blast. There's nothing standoutish or amazing about the fighting. What carries this is the comedy, because it's so hilariously absurd. And if you're into technology, like there's a lot of jokes aimed at computer geeks. So it's a very funny anime. Like the fighting is just it's all gags. The whole point of it is it's a comedy, and it's kind of like a harem at the very end. But so she drags this guy inside a computer, and they find these two other computer programs that are also women, that are hilariously ridiculous in proportions. And but the one with the green hair, actually, we liked. I thought she had a very cool character design. So they're trying to like hack the government stuff, and Mimi ends up trying to fight them. There's a Funta, I think. No, there's like another one that gets kind of involved. And Mimi, even though she went against Mimi kind of felt bad for her because the other two ended up completely beating her. And so she's fighting, and she's like, "Oh, I'm out of energy." She's like, "Tokyo, I need you to, I need you to give me more memory." And when she says that, she basically wants him to have sex with her. And this guy's like, at first he was like very kind of like creeped out and put off about it. He felt kind of violated, but then he kind of gets used to it, and then he eventually starts going with it. So he does the business, and then she gets her powers back and just fights back against these two sisters. Back in the real world, or no, back in school. So Mimi ends up getting sick because this guy has because she gets possessed by the third sister's kind of programming, and she's constantly almost telling Tokyo's friends who she is, and he doesn't want them to find out. So he has to like constantly interrupt or like run away. So everybody kind of gets suspicious and they follow him, and they get to a shop, and she's like, "Oh, I used up all my memory in that fight." And he asks his friend at the shop if he can use the bathroom. And obviously, he's taking a woman with him. But the shop owner, he's like completely cool with it. He's like, "Yeah, go for it." They get in there, they do the business. And also, to fight, he can select a variation of discs. I think some are for like resurrection, some are for like life, some are for a battle. And to use them, he has to insert them inside of her genital area. I mean, her reset button is her belly button. But when you reset her, it wipes out her memory 24 hours before. And so they kind of just fight at it again with the sisters. They meet the third sister, and the sisters are funny because one of them is like, she has like this like weird like obsession with like Japanese honor and culture, where as Mimi is being loyal and doing all she can to help Tokyo, and Tokyo being a very great master to her and treating her well, she kind of like starts tearing up at this, while at the same time trying to destroy them. And the woman that they met in the beginning that was evil, she kind of ends up siding with them because Mimi ends up trying to save her, even though they were enemies at some point. And so they ended up being the sisters because one of Tokyo's friends had developed a worm on a floppy disk. And when they were in the computer shop, they're all linked into the same network. They all get like paralyzed because one of the sisters kind of like uses a hypnosis program through the computers to make everybody fall asleep. And when they wake up, the girl that likes Tokyo, she accidentally puts the worm drive in the computer. And so the worms end up falling all over the third sister, which lets Mimi kind of blast her. And so the sisters kind of give up and they leave. And in the process, Tokyo and Mimi save a lot of the other computers that were the women that were all there, and they were all naked. And they take him into his house. So he has a room full of naked women now. And Mimi tells him to help them from dying, he needs to reboot them by having sex with all of them. And so he's like, "What?" And so he, at the end, he has to like reboot like 15 different girls. So and they all become servants to him. So it ends where he has like an army of attractive women who are gonna do whatever they say, but are gonna need him to perform sexually. So I don't know how he's gonna do that, but that's where the OVA ends. But it's a hilariously funny, fun anime to watch. It's short. I mean, 90 minutes and you're done. It's not very deep or philosophical or psychological. It's just a fun comedy to watch. It's hilarious. I would definitely recommend I Dream of Mimi, and it has a very fun opening song. I really like it. But that's what I think. It's a very funny anime. It's borderline like pornography, but And there are some like pretty hot scenes, I guess you could say, but it's very funny. Thank you for watching.